Welcome to Irresistible You. I am your host, Karen Seltz, and I am beyond excited to have my good friend and leadership coaching buddy, Dawnese Openshaw, with me today. Hi, Dawnese.
Hello, hello. So excited to be here with you and everyone who's here tonight.
Yay. Yay. Dawnese and I go back a couple of years. We have coached a couple of leadership classes together, and we have developed a friendship where we will stand for one another, call one another forward, and love each other unconditionally. And I'm so grateful for that, Dawnese.
I am grateful for that too, Karen, and so grateful for you in my life. You are such a light, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be here and to love on these amazing human beings who get to hear this.
Yes. So I'm going to read your bio, Dawnese, and then we will go from there. So Dawnese Openshaw is an agent for change and is a master transformational leadership coach. I can attest to that. She's a John Maxwell certified leadership coach, trainer, speaker, author of a book for adoptive moms, and of 2 Amazon best-selling books in the Principles of David and Goliath series. At the age of 14, her father encouraged her to read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, and she has been a student of leadership ever since. With over 25 years of experience in small business and nonprofit organizations creating and executing plans for growth, Dawnese offers a unique perspective on life and business. Dawnese's coaching expanded in 2020 to include families supporting emotional regulation, communication, and relationship building. She combines her passion for leadership and commitment with strengthening families as a family empowerment coach. Primarily serving families with teens and tweens, Dawnese empowers families to heal individually and together, creating harmony in their lives and in their homes. And personally, I know Dawnese. She's been married to her husband, Scott, for 27 years. They are proud parents of 3 amazing children, Randy, Daniel, and Olivia, and they're adorable, all of them. And 1 doodle, Tigger.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And you know, it's so amazing, Karen. It's like 2020. It was January of 2020 that I was led to focus on families. And hello, it happened in March of 2020. So, and the family has definitely been impacted in so many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you have experience with 3 very different children, one of whom you adopted. And, you know, you can't put a price on that level of wisdom and what you gain as a mother of all these different types of children. So I love that you're putting it out there in the world. And part of what we're going to talk about tonight is self-compassion. And I know as a mom of I'll call it a challenging child, I've gotten to learn how to be compassionate with myself because there are moments that I'm not proud of. Sometimes I lose it. And, you know, I get to be compassionate with myself.
Truly. And, you know, sometimes, well, I learned, you know, I couldn't really love. My mom used to tell me growing up, if you don't love yourself first, how can you love other people? She would say that. And I never really got it, Karen, until recently. I mean, it took me a long time to really understand what that meant, because having that compassion, and it's not just like self-love, self-care, which is kind of a fad thing that people talk about. Compassion to me, having that self-compassion, in order for me to have compassion, true compassion for others, especially my cute children, because children are so good at being mirrors for ourselves, right? The good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between, and things that we may not want to see. But it's like when I learned to be compassionate with myself, to me, what that means is really, it's about, how do I speak to other people? Do I speak to myself the same way I speak to others? Like my best friend. Okay, yeah, I can be honest with my best friend and tell them things that they may or may not want to hear, but that they know and trust that they're coming from a good place. And do I do that for myself in a compassionate way in which I'm not beating myself up? You know, I'm not like wet noodles, like, but really speaking to myself like I would speak to other people, and vice versa. Right? It's a deep, heart-centered love and understanding of myself. And that's where it starts. Because if I don't have that for myself, how can I truly have that for others? It's almost like it's superficial with other people if I really don't have it with myself first.
Yeah. And that's so true for especially women. I see so many women, they put other people's needs first and they downplay their own needs. And then they're empty. And they're serving, and they're empty. And then they beat themselves up.
Well, there's no energy left to give, right? Like, so I had an amazing therapist one time, and she's like, "No, Dawnese, do you know?" Which to clarify, like therapy to me, there's sometimes for therapy, I primarily work with coaches because they're more present and future focused, and sometimes, therapy did support. So, and this therapist particularly was focused on present and moving forward. And what she taught me, she said, "Do you realize that every day you have a cup of emotional energy?" Right. So I imagine this teacup and a saucer, and that if I just pour out all of my energy and give all day long, at the end of the day, I was feeling like I had nothing left to give. And then it was a coach who said something to the effect of, you want to give from your excess. So you do things to fill your cup every day so that your cup is now overflowing onto that saucer, and everyone else that you're supporting in your life gets the excess and not empties your cup.
Yes, that's an amazing analogy. I love it so much. And yeah, and over the years, I've heard too, like if you are empty, like if your cup is empty, all you can see when you interact with other people is what they can do to you. So it means you got to protect yourself, or what they can do for you because you need something from them or you feel like you do. So it's been really important to me since I found that out to figure out, like I call it, where do I experience the love of God? Or where do I experience flow or joy? And then I put those things, in my day. I don't put them in my calendar because I'm a promoter. But I include them.
What I just heard you say though too is what you were referring to me as a transactional relationship, right? Give and take, or what you do to me or for, like, not for me in the sense of like, what can you do for me, is transactional.
Absolutely.
It's not a feeling or thought of abundance. And then what I heard you say was so beautiful. Say that question again about God.
Where do I experience the love of God?
And for me, that's where that energy comes from. It's my soul. It's that soul energy, and what is created by me giving in a space where I have abundance versus scarcity.
Oh, yes, that's so juicy. That's so juicy. And that's like such a big mindset piece. So what do you say, like what works for you to fill yourself up? And
It's funny. I was such a busybody. I'm sure you could have ever guessed that about me. I was so caught up in so much of my life in the doing. Do. As my being busy was a badge of honor for a long, long time. Because I felt like if I just could do more, I would be more, and just like I'd have it all, right? Like, and be happy and all of the things. And so I would just fill my day with activities. I mean, so many different things. And it wasn't until I learned, Karen, that I could be still. And in the moments of stillness, that I could be comfortable with being still. And I fought meditation. People taught me about meditation. I've learned about meditation for years and years. And sometimes I do it and I love it. But for me, just having quiet moments, when I'm in the car, I don't turn music or a podcast on. I just listen. Sometimes I may turn something on, but for me, it's those quiet moments. It's moments in the shower. It's like my place of inspiration. And I've learned to be comfortable with not being in the doing. all the time.
Yeah.
It was
And
huge.
what was the thing you said to me right before we pressed record about worth that you heard from me?
Yeah, that thing. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned about worth, I learned from you, Karen. And I thank you so much, because we were on a call one day, a coaching call, and I was feeling probably a little discouraged about what was happening and not getting the results that I was looking for. And for me, I have this thing around self-worth, and I know that, and I know it's not going away. And it's what I understand it to be in my creating that conscious awareness of how it impacts me and how I can shift it. So this is what you said to me. So Dawnese, what can you do to change your value, your worth? I just sat there. It was like, what can I do? This is a trick question. I may have even asked you that. I was like, Karen, I can't do anything. There is nothing I can do that will change how I feel about myself or my worth or my value. And it's so true. There is nothing I can do. In fact, it was right shortly thereafter that I saw a TikTok video. Yeah, I like to watch TikTok videos sometimes. And it was this young man, and he had a $20 bill, and he's like, I got a clean, crisp $20 bill here. You seen this one? And he's like, how much is it worth? It's worth $20. And then he's like, awesome. And he crumbles it up. And he's like, how much is it worth now? $20. And then he like wads it up and like puts it on the ground and stomps on it. And he's like, how much is it worth? Still worth $20. And then he picks it up and it's all wadded and gross. And he throws it in the garbage. And he's like, how much is it still worth? $20. There is nothing that changes the value of that $20 bill. Just like there's nothing that can happen for me in my life that will change my worth or value. It's about me coming to that conscious awareness of my worth.
Yeah. Yeah. It took me a while to get that lesson, Dawnese, because I was constantly earning love. And I thought I was only as lovable or as worthy as what I was doing for someone else. And if I wasn't doing something, I didn't feel worthy. And one of my mentors said, there's nothing you can do to make yourself any more worthy. And there's nothing you can do to make yourself any less worthy. I'm like, what? Yeah. But once I got it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can relax. I can't earn it. So why am I trying? Because it's really inauthentic. For me, it was. I wasn't operating out of abundance, out of a desire to really connect or be of service. I was doing it because I thought I had to be lovable. I wouldn't be valued or loved or worthy.
That sigh you just took, it was like that breath, that big breath. It was like the weight of it, right? Receiving that message and knowing there's nothing that you could do that would like make you more worthy or less worthy. What a weight that is just removed from feeling like we have to prove ourselves by doing anything.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. And I know you and I both talk a lot about authenticity, and you really can't be authentic when you're people pleasing. You just can't. I was coaching, I have a group I run, and the woman's like, oh, Karen, I was so mad at you at midnight on this day because she made a commitment. And I said, you get to put your ass on the line. And this is like a religious woman. And I told her that exact thing. She's like, I was so mad at you. And I said, and you did it. And how do you feel now? She's like, I feel amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
We're not always going to be liked for being authentic, for standing for people.
So true. And, with that needing to prove something, it's really interesting you brought this up, because that proving something, that worth, that value, for me too, like it was about being a people pleaser, like saying things, doing things that people wanted me to say or do. And so, and getting it right. That was exhausting. It's exhausting. I mean, there was no drop left in my cup. Like I couldn't even shake out another drop.
And is it possible really to get it right? Like for everyone?
No, because everyone has their own unique perspective of what that even looks like. So what I think I might be doing it right, to you, it may not be.
Exactly.
So then it just took a lot of energy to do nothing though, No, yeah, it's so amazing. And I think too of these cups, Karen, and this image came to me a couple weeks ago where not only do we have one cup, right? But when we are serving others and we are operating from a space of true compassion for ourselves and other people, it's like there is a pyramid of little teacups. And there is an abundance, like a water pitcher that is pouring over these teacups, and it's just the water is tumbling down and there's excess, and I have enough energy and whatever comes, like to be fully in it and share in abundance. But sometimes when we don't feel our worth, it's like we take another empty saucer thing, a little plate, and we like hold it in front of the pitcher of water. So now that water is like cascading away from the cups. So we're not even allowing it to fill up the cups. Like that could be one thing is deflection, right? Like, so when someone gives me a compliment and I deflect instead of just allow that positive energy to flow into me. And then I think sometimes too, in the mode of doing, it's like there's a fire hydrant coming to my teacups. And because of the pressure of the water, there is no drops really left in the teacups. And so it's just that right amount of, and I call it harmony. Some people call it balance. I call it harmony because when you have a string instrument, and I was blessed to have one child who played a string instrument and one a brass. So, but if they're not tuned, a string instrument isn't tuned, and that, finding that harmony and that sound and resonance, it can be kind of painstaking to listen to. You've never been to a middle school orchestra concert?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Oh.
So are you likening us to an instrument, like we tune our instrument ourselves?
Yes. And what came to me the other day too? So there's those tuning forks, those tuning like pitch things, like in creating that resonance and harmony with all of the instruments that play. And for me, in a family, right, there's parents and children, and everybody has their instrument. And so finding that alignment and attunement, and then like individually and then collectively, when we all are in tune together collectively, what can be created is so it's like a Beethoven concerto. I'm not a big classical music person, but yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful, Dawnese. And you get these great visuals too. I love that. Because you really get an idea like, oh yeah, I did do that. I caught myself recently deflecting a compliment. I'm like, oh my gosh, me? Because I teach it all the time. But I was in yoga class and one of the instructors said, I wish I had your standing splits. I'm like, yeah, but I can't do this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. I said, rewind. I received, thank you so much for that compliment.
Well, and what does that create inside your very being when you receive that?
It's an honoring of myself and of my progress. Instead of looking at where I come up short, I get to honor where I'm killing it.
You're standing splits, and I just learned something new about you.
I'm very flexible.
Oh, that is amazing. Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Deflection has come up a few times in conversation for me the last few weeks, and I was masterful at it. Absolutely masterful. And I love what you said is like, it's about receiving. It really is. It's about being open to receive. And that to me is another thing that goes back to self-compassion. Having that compassion for myself and being open to receiving from other people it creates, I think you used the word honor. Is that what you said? I love that. Speak more to that. Like, how does that feel in that space of feeling honored?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. For me, I grew up in a household where I felt like I couldn't do enough right. Right. Like it was very rarely brought to my attention. Wow, you did that really well. It was like, oh, you messed up here. Like I brought home all A's and my dad said only one A plus. And that is like the analogy of my childhood, right? Like I finally got a perfect report card and he found something wrong with it. So perfection was this unattainable standard, and the honoring gets to be within ourselves. It doesn't matter how many people tell me I have amazing standing splits. If I don't accept it for myself, I will deflect it, whether I do it verbally or energetically. So really, you get to learn how to focus on what you want. And what I have clients do is keep a win journal, like record their wins every single day, at least 3, if not more. And by the end of a couple of weeks, they're like, oh my gosh, and I did this and this and this, and I created this and this. Prior to that, they're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be hard. Not very many things go right for me. Like they do. You just have programmed your mind to look for what's not perfect. So whatever we train ourselves to look for is what we will find. So wins, 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 wins.
I love that. I'm borrowing that. I'm going to create my own win journal. Thank you for that. and celebrating, to me, that's that whole celebrating ourselves, celebrating everything. And absolutely what you just shared, whatever we're looking for evidence for, we will create in our lives. One of my favorite quotes by Tony Robbins is probably like, yeah, I say this one all the time. And I don't know where it originated, but I give Tony credit because he's who I heard it from. He says, where your focus goes, your energy flows. And so if my focus is on creating and being aware and honoring myself, I love that word, honoring myself, then that's what I'm going to see, like your win journal. But I'm focused on all the things that aren't working, and I'm just going to create more of what's not working.
Yeah. And it's mean. It's so mean to do to yourself. It's the opposite of self-compassion, where you're like, oh, here's where I messed up today. Like, no, where did you do right? What did you do well? Like, where were you compassionate with others? Where did you create a ripple effect of joy? I don't know. It could be anything.
I love that. A ripple effect of joy.
There are these videos, like of one person helping another person, and then that person helps another one, and then another one. And it's beautiful.
I love those videos.
I know. And it reminds us too of how magical and how much we matter. We're so magical. And all it takes is like one moment of presence, like to breathe and say, and like to get out of ourselves, like one of the things that I like to do if I'm in a bad place is to say, okay, who could I serve right now? Who gets to hear from me right now? And I just pick up the phone and call them and say, you were really on my heart. How's everything going? And for me, it's like been 100% that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you called. I was just sitting, I was spinning, or I was feeling like I wasn't enough. And really, I was feeling like that too. But then by me supporting them to shift, it supports me to shift. And then we both rise.
Yay. That it's really true as to how we show up, whether it be in our homes or at work or the grocery store or Target or wherever it is, how we show up truly impacts the energy around us. Are we an energy suck, an energy vampire, and draining the energy from the room that we walk into, or are we adding to the energy?
I love that you say that. I'm a big follower of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he has contracted with people that can measure the energy in a room. And that is, it is scientifically proven that is true. There are people that will suck energy out of a room, and there's other people that will elevate the entire room. And it's conscious, it's a choice, it's intention.
Well, if you think about it, when someone walks into a room and everybody just gravitates towards that person, it's because they're operating at a higher frequency. I can guarantee they have a lot of self-love and compassion for themselves and honor for themselves, right? So, and then there's the person who walks in the room and it's like, everything bad happened that morning. And yeah, you've seen it, you felt it. And it's interesting. And I'm going to put a challenge out there for everyone watching this. Be aware of what happens in the energy in the room when you walk in. It's a really good awareness moment. Do people come to you? Do you cower and hide in the back of the room, or try not to be seen or heard? Like, just be aware. And then also a great thing is observe when other people walk in the room and see how it is and what you feel and that sense of yourself when you experience that person. It's creating that conscious awareness of our own vibration.
That is brilliant, Dawnese. I love it. And it reminds me too, like when speakers are in training, the good trainers will say, don't just watch yourself, watch other people, watch the other people, the recordings of the other people's faces and their body language when you're speaking. Are they tuning out? Are they, off in la la land? Are they like on the edge of their seat? Like, what are they doing? What is the response?
And are they taking notes? Can you see the light bulbs going on in their eyes? Like, and yeah. So for me, and I love this, it's like really listening with your eyes. Especially in this modern age of Zoom, where we're not necessarily feeling the energy and physical space environment where we're in, but you can still watch and feel it even online.
Yeah, energy knows no bounds. So you can feel energy everywhere if you're open to it.
Oh, there's the key right there.
Yeah.
If you're open to it.
Yeah. And paying attention, being present, not being like, oh, well, how am I going to respond? What am I going to say to her? Or kind of judging, like, is that true what they're saying or is it not true? Because that puts us in a closed place where we're not open to our heart energy.
Well, the thing that I find, what you just shared is when I'm present, then I can truly feel a connection with that other human being. Whereas if I'm just there and not really paying attention and if it's a room of people or just a one-on-one, whatever it might be, I've missed the authentic connection. Generally because I'm distracted, whether it be by my thoughts or my cell phone going off, or, like text messages coming in, something is distracting me. And just what you said earlier, it's a choice. What am I creating? What am I choosing to create in this moment? Present and connected, or am I allowing myself to be distracted and not connected?
Yeah. Having compassion for yourself when you catch yourself distracted, like don't beat yourself up and say, oh, I caught it. I caught myself coming back now. And you can say that, like, you know what? I'm really sorry. I zoned out for a minute. Could you repeat that, please?
Which is totally authentic.
Yeah. We all do it, but
right. And not pretending that it didn't happen, because that doesn't create connection, because the other person saw it happen. They experienced it. There's well, let's just experiment, Karen. So we're talking, right? Go ahead and share something with me.
I don't want to. I know where this is going. My psychic abilities are telling me that you're going to zone out.
Okay, so Karen's talking, she's sharing something with me, and now where's my energy?
Not with me.
Yeah, it's not focused.
We can feel it on the phone too, even when we can't see people.
Totally. Like I'll be chatting with my husband, and he's in his work day, and he's got something that he's focused on, and I'm like, hello, are you there? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm here. And I do the same thing to him too. And we lovingly call each other forward and be like, hey, isn't now not a good time to talk?
Rocky Road ice cream. They're like, what?
One of my favorites. One of my favorite. I did.
That will get his attention.
Yeah. I did used to own an ice cream store, Karen.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us what you're working on now, Dawnese. You're telling me some exciting projects.
Yes. So with my focus on families, I have a business that's called Fully Invested Families. So I focus on parents and teenagers, teens and tweens. I say 9 to 19. And I have some one-on-one coaching and some programs that will be coming up in the works. Super excited. And then I'm also working in a collaboration to create a collective that is focused on families and strengthening families.
Oh, that's
My heart space.
How can people follow you? How can they find you?
Yeah, so I do have a website. It's fullyinvestedfamilies.com. That's families, IES.com. So you can find me there. And then, of course, Dawnese Openshaw on any social media platform as well.
Awesome.
Primarily Facebook.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I know there are people that are struggling in their relationships with their children. Or what else do you support with?
So it really is all relationship focused, which you said. So it's relationship with myself, right? Especially mamas who get to create self-compassion and get rid of the mom guilt, coming home to ourselves and really acknowledging and honoring ourselves. And then I work with couples who are wanting to improve communication and their relationship. And then I work with the teens alone and also with the teens and their parents. So I do a little combination of everything, but it boils down to relationship, which is really about clear communication and honoring each other. Creating harmony really is about, you mentioned, well, it was in my bio, emotional regulation. So being able to communicate, to connect, to create emotional regulation, or as I like to say, emotional resilience, that is huge. So it's all about relationships in the family, and it starts with me.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, that's so beautiful. I love your work, and I adore you. So thank you so much for being here on Irresistible You, Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. Any closing words for our guests?
Just say, well, key thing is creating, well, Karen said it best, learning how to honor yourself in how you choose to live in your life and choices. It's all about choices that you create to have that compassion. And remember that it comes from abundance. All that you share with others around you, family, friends, colleagues, neighbors, people at the grocery store, gets to come from a place of abundance.
Oh, that's beautiful. I want to bring up a whole nother topic now, but we'll save that for another time.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.